Good morning, good afternoon, folks, depending on where you're at. Thanks for joining me again today for another Business of Trucking video. Today we have to talk about something a little bit unpleasant, sad to say. Another factoring company, the second one this year of any size, has locked its doors, discontinued business, and failed to pay carriers and trucking companies. Now in this video I want to tell you, number one, what happened here, why it happened, what you can do about it if they owe you money, and what you can do to prevent it going forward. But first, we have to talk about something that I have to say. It's not pleasant, but people need to hear this, and it needs to be taken seriously. For the last 2 years, money has been everywhere in trucking. We all know that. Things were plentiful. There was very few problems in getting paid and such because they needed us so bad. But you all know how times have turned. Freight rates are low. Volumes are lower. Fuel prices are higher. Credit has tightened. So we're going to start to see some old problems become new again. These are not new problems. They're just problems that went away for a little while we were in this boom in trucking. But they're back. Something I had said for the last couple of years of people asking, hey, should I get my new authority? I would say, hey, there's some problems and some issues that can come with that I just want to make you aware of. And, you need to be prepared for them. And I would get a lot of responses back of I've had my authority for, maybe 6 months. I don't really know what you're talking about. I haven't had any of these problems. And I'm like, well, great. That's awesome. But they can come up. And we're seeing some of those now because of the environment we're in. Number one, we're seeing freight claims. I've been getting emails all over the place from people getting freight claims. Because shippers and receivers and brokers are tight again, there's no room for just don't worry about it. They're going to slap you with freight claims now. Slow pay and no pay from brokers and shippers. Okay, that could cause more factoring companies to go out of business. We have all kinds of issues going on, right? So the old problems are new again. They never really went away permanently. They just went away for a little while. So know that going forward, you have to protect yourself and take these things very seriously. It might require some changes on your behalf now before it happens to you to prevent some of these things, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. So first, let's talk about Corefund Capital. What in the heck happened here at Corefund Capital? Well, first off, let me say that there's a dirty little secret in factoring, right? So for the last couple of years, we have all these fly-by-night, dispatch companies, brokerages, and what people didn't really pay attention to was factoring companies. We had all these new ones pop up, right, because money was everywhere. Well, the thing you might not know about factoring companies is they're mostly not regulated. There's very little regulation for a factoring company, okay? That is not true of all factoring companies. We'll get into that. And why you need to know that and why it's important to keep them from stealing your money. But first, Corefund Capital went belly up. They closed the doors. I'm looking at the court. I'm going to look right at the court papers here and tell you what they're saying. The court documents state that the rationale for wrongfully shutting down Corefund's business resulted from a, quote, spat between a gentleman named Wakefield. Let me look at Chris Wakefield and Meyer Shim Sachs. This whole thing resulted from a spat between these two people. That is in the court documents. It is not because saying that, oh, we're bankrupt or whatever. That may be the case. That may be part of the spat. But they decided to shut down this company wrongfully because of a spat between these two people. Now, they also have fired everybody on the staff. I mean, just one day, you're all gone. You're all terminated. So that's the basics of what has happened here. That's sad. That should not be allowed to happen. And I think the court is stepping in here and going to undo some of these things. So what's going to happen here? So, well, first, if you're a customer of Corefund Capital and they owe you money, couple things. Now, every factoring company puts a UCC filing against their customers. That would be you as the carrier, right? UCC filing is Uniform Commercial Code. The factoring companies put it on your credit, okay? Once you have that on your credit, you're going to get all kinds of annoying phone calls from places trying to give you money or thinking that you have a bad loan out there because there's a UCC filing against you, offering you all kinds of money and refinancing. I get 10 of these calls every day. It's very annoying. But nonetheless, you'll have a UCC filing on you. And then you'll also have a notice of assignment. So when you do business with a broker or a shipper and you want them to pay your factoring company, so your factoring company can pay you, you have to provide them a notice of assignment. That notice of assignment says, hey, you legally have to pay them, not me. So once you give that to somebody, they legally cannot, under any circumstance, pay you. So if you were to go right now, if you're a customer of Corefund Capital, go to the broker and said, forget about that NOA, just pay me, there's no circumstance where they can do that. Unless, if I was a customer of Corefund Capital right now, what I would be doing is sending notice to cancel my contract. Now everybody there is fired. There's probably nobody there to get the mail, but all that mail should be going into whoever took receivership of all this, which is the court. And I'm going to give you, that is Parker County 415th District Court in Parker County, Texas, is going to be the court that is going to be handling this. Now the court has received a request to try to cancel all of these notices of assignment. So if that happens, what I would do, I wouldn't wait. I would send a petition to the court and say, could you please cancel or reverse this notice of assignment so that money that I haven't even gotten paid yet, maybe a broker's holding some of the money because they can't send it to Corefund because who knows, their bank accounts might be frozen or whatever. If a broker's holding money for you, maybe you could send notice to the court and say, hey, could you please release this notice of assignment? It's worth a try. I would personally try that. But at the bare minimum, I would immediately send notice to cancel my contract with Corefund. And you'll have to look in your contract. Sometimes it's a 20-day, a 30-day, a 90-day. Whatever it is, look it up, send that notice. Now, this particular instant here is likely to, I mean, let's face it, it could put hundreds of customers, trucking companies, small carriers, owner-operators out of business because trucking companies can't pay their employees if they're depending on this money. They can't pay their fuel bill. And the same with you. So now going forward, what do we do about this? Well, the first thing is to understand the different kinds of factoring. A lot of people are of the misconception that if I factor, once the factoring company pays me, that's done. I got my money. We're good. That is not necessarily true. There's recourse factoring and non-recourse factoring. Recourse factoring means the factoring company is going to pay you in the set determined amount of days, and then if the customer or broker does not pay them, you owe the money back to the factoring company. And that can and does happen. Okay. In non-recourse factoring, that means if the broker doesn't pay the factoring company is going to eat that. Now, there is a higher fee associated with non-recourse factoring. It will likely be significantly higher than recourse factoring. And there can be different kinds of non-recourse factoring. You have to look into it. Some of them are true non-recourse where they eat it and that's it. And then some of them are non-recourse for 90, 120 days. You have to look at the contract. So understand what you're signing up for and the fees involved. So definitely read any contract. Now, what you would want to look for in a factoring company is a factoring company that is owned and part of a bank. Now, there is a factoring company that I know that is a part of a bank. They are well regulated and they are financially viable. They have capital to back their company up. And if there's a problem, they're going to be held to high financial standards. Okay, and that is Triumph Capital. And I'm going to put a clickable link in the description below the video here. If you just want to click on it, go to their website and sign up. Otherwise, call Ashley at 915-331-1606. Now, I've talked to her kind of about this, sending people over there, and she says, yeah, have them give me a call. There's different programs to suit, your company size. How many trucks do you have? How much are you going to factor? All these kinds of things. So they can customize a plan to you, and they're going to be a much more solid, stable company. So definitely give Ashley a call and tell her that I told you to call, and talk to her about all the different options available for you. And if you're looking at different other companies, say, hey, any chance you're owned by a bank? What regulations are you subject to? Because it's no longer playtime with letting people try to steal your money, is it? We've seen it happen twice on a high level this year. Now, factoring isn't for everybody, If you have a lot of brokers now are offering inexpensive quick pay. Our brokerage, we offer 2% quick pay. That's cheaper than most factoring companies. That may make more sense than putting yourself into a contract. And also, maybe a line of credit is something that would work well for you, so that you're paying an APR instead of a fee per load. Now, I understand people starting off, or maybe you're short on capital, short on credit. It's not for everybody. There is a place for factoring companies for a lot of people. Just make sure you're signing up with the right one. And I think that Triumph Capital is one of the most solid, stable ones out there. So we will leave it at that for this video so it doesn't get too long. But just remember, truck driving, it's like boxing. Protect yourself at all times. And hopefully nobody can get one over on you like this. Now, thanks for joining me today. If you like this kind of video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And check out some of the other videos on the screen right now.